Hello, everyone, and welcome to Zest with me, Shel, the podcast that'll take you on a journey from the hustle to the harmony, fueling your passion whilst finding your peace. Today, it's such a special day again because we have our second live panel series, and I am beyond grateful to each of you for being here, whether you're joining us live or virtually or watching the recording later. Thank you for taking time out of your day to be with us in this virtual loving space to expand, to learn, and to connect. Your presence is what makes this global conversation possible. And of course, I also want to send my heartfelt thank you to our incredible panelists. We have three incredible speakers today. Let's start with the ever radiant Kalinda Latour. She is the embodiment of radical self-love, helping women fall in love with themselves again, or sometimes for the first time. She is the founder of Living in Love, the movement, and the Love Me First method, as well as the author of Living in Love, and I would highly, highly recommend her book. It's phenomenal. Next, we have the truly incredible Francesca Pacino, a parenting and life coach helping you raise confident, conscious kids. And if you have not seen a confident, conscious kid, then you need to check our mini Zesties because her little one is definitely leading the way there. She is incredible, helping us emotionally tune relationships grounded in connection and guided by our values. And I am super, super excited to welcome back our incredible, he's going to be the co-host soon, not a part of a guest panel anymore, the truly inspiring Kamal, who champions self-discovery, emotional well-being, and intentional leadership. And he is definitely going to balance the energy today with all us women here. So we are super, super excited to have him. Thank you all so much for showing today, trusting the process and bringing your full presence to this beautiful, loving, conscious space. So I don't want to talk too much, but if you do have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat or to leave them. Ask them at the end, whatever feels right for you, and we will unmute you, and I'm sure all our guests will be able to answer them. But we just ask out of respect for the session and the flow that we mute while we're listening to our panel series, just to make sure we don't disrupt the flow. So without further ado, let's dive into this incredible topic, which I have been so excited about, which is self-love, intimacy, self-worth, and conscious relationships. Let's cultivate deeper connection with ourselves and others, build emotional resilience, and step into an empowered, heart-led living. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Welcome, welcome, everybody. How are we all today?
Very well, thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you.
You are so welcome. And I think because it's just the overarching theme of today and what all of you, just from knowing you all, which is such an honor and privilege, represent. First of all, what does self-love mean to you? Because I think self-love is a very personal theme. So let's start with the living in love woman herself. Let's start with the beautiful Kalinda.
Oh, thank you, Shel. So that's a great question, and I agree with you. I think self-love is a very personal definition, and generically, it may be the relationship you have with yourself, right? Do you treat yourself compassionately, with empathy? How do you speak to yourself? How is that inner critic? Is it your inner cheerleader? Things like that. How do you treat your inner child? But for me, I actually have a much broader definition of self-love. I think any act of love is an act of self-love, and because ultimately it makes you feel better. So part of living in love is putting love into action, and so that's why I say any act of love is an act of self-love. I'm all about doing loving things consciously and deliberately for yourself, which is obviously very much self-love, for others, as well as just to raise your vibration, do loving things so you feel better. So for me, yes, it is. It's all about the relationship we have with ourselves, and that includes self-forgiveness, self-trust, accepting ourselves as we are, but still with the knowledge that we have room to grow, and being disciplined enough and loving ourselves enough to no longer tolerate things we don't accept anymore. So that's the self-acceptance portion of it. And then there's also self-care. And self-care goes beyond bubble baths and massages, though those are wonderful, don't get me wrong. They are also part of self-love. But self-care to me is as well taking a look again at those areas of your life where perhaps you could use some improvement. And again, loving yourself enough to have that willingness to grow in those areas. So there you go. There's a big definition of self-love.
I feel like we've just ticked off the whole panel discussion. Thanks,
also talk about self-gratitude as well, because that's part of it.
the podcast host and me was like wanting to ask so many questions. I'm like, whoa, stop. Okay, let's break up this feminine energy a little bit, even though feminine energy doesn't just mean females. And let's ask you, Kamal, what do you think self-love means?
Thank you, Shel, for that lovely introduction.
You're so welcome.
Nice to meet you as well, Colinda and Francesca. Hoping to come up with amazing conversations around this interesting, heartwarming, empowering topic. For me, self-love is, I could say, is a way of life. It's the daily practice of choosing yourself, practicing gratitude on yourself, just loving yourself and practicing ways of showing that you prioritize yourself and having strong, healthy boundaries, choosing your environments well, and just choosing peace, and also being able to embrace healing, because I do believe that we all need healing in one way or another, from our past relationships, past hurt. We need to accept ourselves of how we are. So I do believe that self-love is something that someone should cultivate early in life, and to practice it in whatever they do. Yeah. Self-affirmations, journaling, being kind to yourself, saying loving things about yourself every day in front of the mirror, and just also telling people to practice that as well. Not also about you, but also about letting others know that they should also love themselves as well.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much. And you, Francesca?
Well, thank you, and it's beautiful to hear so interesting points of view.
It's really hard to move on quickly because I so want to continue
speaking. It's very interesting. Yeah. But I'm sure we will go back to all this.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's how I want it to be. I don't want it to be a me ask and you just answer. Like, I really want this beautiful, natural conversation to expand.
So for me, self-love, I would start from love. For me, love means when you love someone, you want to spend time with someone, with the other one. If someone tells you that they love you and they don't want to spend time with you, they don't love you. I don't care what they say. If you don't want to spend time with me, you don't love me. You can say what you want. So self-love is wanting to spend time with ourselves in the sense of being happy with ourselves, possibly in any situation. And in the situation where we don't feel comfortable with ourselves, as it has been said, is a space to grow. We need to understand why are we not comfortable in that situation or with that person, whatever it is. Do we want to improve? Because maybe there are situations where I just don't want the situation. Yeah. It's not my thing. I step back. But if it's something that you want to learn and you don't feel comfortable, you need to understand what you need to learn and where you need to grow so that you can grow and love yourself.
Absolutely beautiful. And listening to you all, one thing I hear that really comes up, and I think sometimes when we share our own experience, it allows for discussion and for you all to use your beautiful expertise to add to it. But I particularly remember when I first went on my own self-love journey, which is definitely not a tick off, it's ongoing every single day, get up and get on with it. And again, it's not saying that the people said this to me, but it was something I really felt inside, which hence go back to the word healing that you said, Kamal. I really felt like at first I was selfish because I think we were always taught so much to give outside of ourselves that the moment, and it wasn't at any fault to anyone else, but I realized I was very much a people pleaser and overgiver. And again, like, this is subject to other people's views, but I knew I always, and again, they wasn't asking me to do that, but I always went the extra mile, I felt. And it wasn't that these people didn't appreciate it, but it was kind of like, oh, that's just Shelley, that's what she does. And when I kind of reined it all back in and poured it into myself, because I didn't really have anything in myself, and I think we'll talk about this, but that you can't pour from an empty cup. I really noticed cracks in relationships. I noticed just so much, felt like it was just like crumbling around me. So I'd love your takes on that, you know, whatever like part you want to elaborate on that of, because obviously this is a beautiful subject, but I think when you're sometimes at the start of it, it doesn't always feel like the most positive, kindest thing that you are doing, even though eventually it's going to benefit you and all the people around you so much. But I just felt right at the start, it was, for me personally, very tricky. So if anyone would like to add to that, you are more than welcome.
I'll jump in for a second if that's all right. And you know, I think what you've said is you've hit a very important part, and that is there is a mislabel, I guess, of self-love, and that it is selfish, right? And I think that's from lack of understanding, perhaps, lack of necessarily feeling the love for yourself, and then, you know, commenting on it. So somebody who says self-love is selfish, I'm going to maybe say they may not love themselves that much. Because if they did, they would understand that actually it's not selfish, because you made a very good point, a very valid point, is that your cup's going to empty if you are continuously overgiving. And I was there too, as a people pleaser. I still am to a certain degree. Like you said, this journey is ongoing. It's like any relationship you have, right? You need to put the work into it, and it just continues, or that relationship ends. And that includes the relationship you have with yourself. And so it is an ongoing journey. And you're right, absolutely. I agree 100% at the beginning for me as well. As soon as I started setting boundaries, that's when people are going to have that lashback and be like, oh, you know, this isn't the person I knew before. This person used to give, do this, and this. And now she or he is pulling back. And why is that? So they will label it as things as, oh, she's being selfish, or she's not thinking of anyone else. She's just thinking of herself. And you know what? It's okay to just think of yourself once in a while. Because like you said, if you don't, and like you, Kamau, said in the beginning as well, is you need to do this so you can fill your cup, keep it full. Just like we've all heard this, you're on an airplane and they say, put your mask on first before you help anyone else. So we need to remember that self-love is like putting that mask on first so you can show up as your best self. You can show up stress-free or less stress. You can show up rejuvenated and ready to give, and also the desire to give without resentment, right? Because I don't know about you, but as I continued to give and give and give and didn't necessarily get anything in return, resentment is typical to develop, and we don't want that, right? So I think that's primarily what I would add to that little bit.
Absolutely. And before anyone continues, I think that's really important what you just said at the end there, Kalinda, because the other thing I realize now is everything was very conditional in my life, and it was I was giving, but I realized I was giving because I wanted to be perceived as the good person, as the kind friend. I realized I was actually acting out of intention for gain for myself, and then when that narrative or that reaction didn't come, that's when I didn't feel fulfilled. Whereas now I've learned, okay, before you do anything, Shelley, stop. Why are you doing this? Are you doing this because you want something in return, or are you generally doing it from the goodness of your heart? And if you received no compliment, you received no whatever at the end of it, would you still be happy that you went out your way to do that action? And that was a big lesson for me personally. And again, it's ongoing.
Well, we spoke about this, Shel. For me, in parenting coaching, if I had to choose one subject to talk about is emotion regulation. And I think what we are talking about is very much connected to emotion regulation. And I think that emotion regulation, we can, let's say, is built of two chapters. So there is the emotion regulation of when we teach our children the names of the emotions. and how to regulate their own emotions. And then there is the chapter of choosing friends and what a good friend is. Because a good friend is not a friend who gets pulled down by the other friend. So you need to be able to say, I'm your friend, you are having a very difficult, hard afternoon. I'm trying to help. It doesn't look like it's working. I'm sorry. I go home because I care for you and I'm not managing to help you. You call me. When I can come and you want to go for an ice cream, go for a bike ride, watch a movie together, eating popcorns, whatever. When you know what I can help, I come. But you are just draining my energy. It's not good for you. It's not good for me. So I respect myself. I love you. I'm going home and we speak later. So this is what came up for me.
I think what you've just said as well, Francesca, is really powerful, because sometimes when we hear it like that, it sounds so, but when you really actually unpick it, what I've noticed is when we, back to what Kalinda said, the resentment, without knowing and labeling it, we don't know, but this is what naturally happens. It's almost that typical, we continue, and then it gets much more worse. Whereas you have those honest, loving, and loving doesn't always mean easy, but you have those honest conversations. And although at the time, when, like what you say, someone is going through the emotions and maybe they're not regulating themselves properly, it does seem a little bit like, do you not care about me? Do you not do this? But like what I feel like, and obviously please correct me, Francesca, if I'm saying it wrong, but what I think is the choices of others are not on us. Like, we go as far as we can give and the capacity we're at, and as much we have, the fulfillment within us, because everyone has their own things happening, and as long as you're doing it from the highest place that you can, from the most loving place, and having those boundaries, then everything should resolve itself. I don't think a friendship that just having that conversation, if that friendship ends, that says a lot about the friendship, I think.
Wow, you guys are raising really, really powerful points, and
let's hear the man.
Actually, it's interesting to note that I resonate with all of you, because I am still very fresh on that journey of self-discovery. I'm just been a year, actually. I have lived pretty much all my life being a people pleaser and wanting to be, the best friend, the best everything, while neglecting my own needs. And at some point, I like the way I think it was you, Colinda, who mentioned that at some point you start getting resentment. Start resenting people, start resenting yourself for putting yourself in that space of, why am I the one who is feeling bitter, feeling angry with myself? And it's my life after all. It's within my power to actually decide that today is my day. Today I'll just prioritize myself, my needs, my feelings, my emotions. And if a friend is really a friend, he or she'll understand that this time is my time, and when I'm ready to help them out, I'll be there to help them out when I feel I'm ready. So even now, it's still very difficult sometimes, balancing between the feeling of am I too selfish, or am I really supposed to be continuing on this path? And I have to keep reminding myself that this is how life has to be, because even God himself told us that love yourself as you love your neighbor. You see, he started with yourself first, not even with the neighbor. Because you cannot love your neighbor if you don't love yourself first. So it took so much of relearning and unlearning for me, but I would say it gets easier with time. It gets easier with practice, and over time you start to see the benefits of prioritizing your own needs first, because now you're able to pour from a full cup, and not from an empty cup, and that benefits you and benefits your loved ones and others around you as well.
Absolutely.
So
I think you just raised a really powerful point there as well, using that quote. because it wasn't love your family or love your friends. It was neighbor, and we don't pick our neighbors. And I think that goes back to what my take is of it. I'm not obviously saying that that is what it means, but it's going back to that not conditional, like, oh, yeah, I will to you because I like you and you're my friend. I'm not going to you. Well, is that love then? And that's hard. That's really hard.
I know for me in my journey, and when I was writing my book and doing the challenge, that pretty much, like, I'd already started my self-love journey at that point, but I reached a point where I reached a plateau and I wanted to become love, right? I wanted to go beyond this self-love. I wanted to operate from a place of love as often as possible. My reactions, my actions, my communication. And so that's why I gave myself and created the challenge, the full-on love challenge, to do 10 acts of love per day for 31 days. Some of them are for me, others, and to raise my vibration. And one of the things I noticed on one of the days of doing these 10 acts of love, because when you immerse yourself in that much love and you generate that much love around you, or change the energy around you to love, you do start noticing things. And one of them was, Shel, you just brought up a really good point, is that I remember one day I woke up and I was sending my love out, and all of a sudden I started sending it out to people like, Trump, other people that I didn't like too much, global leaders who were causing a lot of horrible things in the world. And it really set me, like, I was like, well, Kalinda, why are you doing this? Why? And then it dawned on me that we can't keep, the only way we can fix things is through love. That's my opinion. I believe truly love is the answer to everything. And if I throw out more hate, more dislike, more, anger, bitterness to these leaders or to these people who are doing things that I don't agree with, well, guess what? I'm fueling their fire. And I'm putting more of that energy into the world for more of it to come back, for more of it to spread to others. And so I thought, you know what? I don't like these people. I'm not condoning them. I'm not condoning their actions, but I am going to send them love. Because you know what? They are probably the people who need it the most.
Yes.
And I know that's a rough, tough pill to swallow sometimes, right? You may not think of these people who are causing such atrocities. Maybe they need love. And people will be like, oh, how could you even do that? Like, how could you even consider sending these people love? But like you just said, it's not love if you're not actually just loving. And the more love we put out there into this world, the more that will be generated, the more that will come back to us, the more that will be spread. And so that was a huge lesson. I remember waking up that day and I was like I said, I usually do my meditation, so loving kindness meditation first thing in the morning. And I was like, gosh, why did I just send love to these awful people? And I even questioned myself. And then it was like, because they need it. The world needs it. And so I'm not going to stand in my way just because of my opinions. I'm going to just send them as much love as I can, right?
I think you just...
And that's where I think self-love becomes bigger. It becomes, because I am doing it selfishly for me, because I want a better world, and so I'm going to put more love out there.
But then you say that, Kalinda, but then for you, and I always think back to the book, what was that book? Oh no, it will come to me. One of you will know it in a minute. I can't remember, but it's when he basically says that I am, and he's watching himself, because you just hit on a really big point there. You didn't consciously sit there and say, I'm going to do this today. You actually went, whoa, why am I doing this? That was so much greater than you. You connected to something so much greater than you. And that's, wow, that's amazing.
That's what I call divine love. Yes. Divine love. And that's the love that's everywhere. That's the love that's omnipresent, and that is mentioned in every single spiritual, religious text, wherever, right? That's the love. And I think self-love and divine love are, it's entwined, right? All love is. I think.
And I think just a really important thing to say to anyone listening right now is tolerance and loving is not the same as just accepting. That does not mean that okay, well, do you know what? He's just that way, so I'm just going to love him anyway. No, that's not what we're saying. there's still,
Just to be clear,
yeah, and that is not loving yourself. And what did we say? There's sending love to Trump, and there's like also running out there to want to meet him. It's very different.
Different things, very different things.
Very true.
And I think it's very interesting that there is a so fine line between this ability that is beautiful. I think the four of us have, and many people in the world have, but not so many. It would be much better if there was more ability of connecting and just feeling the love and wishing for more love, independently from whom. I do think that love would save us and will save us if we really, really just love, like the divine love, the universe love, the energy, whatever, however you want to call it. So there is a very fine line between feeling love and sending out love, and what we just said before, that is self-love. I can do that only if you don't hurt me. If I'm loving you unconditionally and you make a move that means you're going to hurt me, I'm going to defend myself. I have to. And this doesn't mean that I am not a loving person, but first, always, I love myself. And then I have to, and I love to love the rest of the universe. But there is always I don't know the word in English, but I don't like the concept of buonismo, that we need to be kind to everybody. Well, wait. Because if you make a move that shows that you are going to hurt me, no. I'm going to defend myself and my child. That is, for me, I'm Mama Bear. You make a move, I'm going to hit you. I'm going to hit you.
You're going to do your teeth, yeah?
Yes. I think that goes back.
And I think that after all, that's also love, because my love for my child is stronger than the love that I have anyway for you who are making a move to hurt in any way my child. My love for myself and my child is the strongest. And then, Absolutely. Beautiful. Thank you. Beautiful to see it coming, all this to come up.
But I think that goes back to what actually I don't know about whether you said it, Francesca, but I know Kalinda and we all definitely said it, that we were people pleasers in the start because we didn't have that self-love. And that's very different, because we thought we were acting from love and we were constantly depleting ourselves. So if we're going to just connect to that and, to everybody, and okay, that's my last £10, but do you know what, you need it more or whatever. I'm not saying that that's not what we do, but we still have to have that emotional maturity, and we still have to not be naive, and sometimes I would love all of your take on this, but I think sometimes we think helping and fixing for other people is in their best interest, but sometimes they actually need to go through the process themselves. Because I know that whether people believe this or not about karma, but sometimes we actually interfere with karma when we actually overgive, or we interfere when actually we shouldn't be. And I think, so thinking about conscious relationships, I think that doesn't mean that fixing everything and being, the savior. That's not what I would love your take on it, what you think a conscious relationship is, basically.
Yes,
perhaps I can.
No, please.
Oh, okay. Perhaps I can jump in here and mention that it's the realization that it's not easy. Not easy. This taking this mantle, taking this noble path, I would say, because as much as, let me take myself for example, as much as I'd love to help everyone in the world, I cannot. I'm not God. I'm not Jesus. I'm just a man, and I can only help whoever wants to help themselves first, because doing so much to try to help them and trying to remind them of who they are well, they don't even know who they are themselves, is it creates something problematic, because it's like I'm coming from a point of like I'm forcing them, to love themselves or to be kind to themselves, or to be kind to other people. But sometimes some people have to go through the process themselves. They need to heal themselves first, and then now I can step in and try to clear the lens from the eyes, make it a bit clearer for them. If they are maybe trying to finding their own purpose, which they don't have, it becomes easier from that point. But it first has to come from themselves first, because I noticed I had that problem as well. While I am in this journey of becoming who I'm supposed to be, I try to help some of my friends, seeing people who are going through something difficult, knowing what it is, but they really don't want my help. They are okay, they're comfortable being in that space where they are. And much as I would like to help them, I can't. So I just have to hope that they let us first, and then I can step in and we can continue together. So it took a lot of understanding from my part, and kindness on my part as well, to be able to be kind to myself and to them, to allow them to go through the process at their own pace, at their own time. Yeah.
I think that's really important what you just mentioned, because I had a realization of this, because when we assume that people need saving or help, that's us making and saying that there's something wrong with their life. But actually some of them like to be in the drama, like to be in the chaos. They thrive off that.
Sure.
And just because maybe we've seen the other side, and like peace is like, wow, this love in my heart and this peace I feel, I want everyone to have this now. And that's how I felt.
Exactly.
Like what you said, it was almost like running guys, listen, and it's like boom, boom, boom.
I know.
They're not interested, because again, we can't take away the process from another person. Was someone there that ran up to us at the time when we probably needed it and we were still stuck in whatever ways we were doing it? No. We would have said, how dare you, go away. And that's what they're essentially doing. But it's kind of like I've noticed, and I don't know about all of you, and I'd love your take on this. I think when you just generally show up as you and what you're doing, and if people are curious and they ask, wow, how are you doing that? Like, wow, you're a completely different person, and they ask questions, I feel that's an invitation to share more. Whereas previously I would just want to tell everybody everything, and people are not ready to hear it. They and some people don't want to. Some people are happy with the way they're functioning.
Yeah, I agree. And I think in the case of conscious relationships, it's like having that awareness of if we continue this discussion of just offering things that may not be solicited or appreciated at that moment, and that comes even in our intimate relationships, right? Like even with my partner, it's we may fire off each other videos that we've just seen on YouTube to each other and be like, oh, you got to watch this, this is amazing. And then we're like, did you watch it? It's like, well, no, I didn't. And we got to understand, like, just because I'm on this journey, and even we're on a journey together, our journeys still may take separate paths. Things will resonate differently. We may be at different stages. And it's also recognizing that and having the patience as well. Like you may be, oh, well, I've been loving myself for years and I'm, over here and you're still over there. And it's like, that's okay, right? That's okay. That's part of, I think, for me, in my opinion, a conscious relationship is being aware of that. And also just being loving towards that and accepting towards like, okay, well, this is where you're at. If you want my help, you know where I am, or how we can help each other in this journey. And for me, I think too, a lot of that comes with communication, open, honest communication. And you're going to find that even in your own journey of self-love, right? You need to be open and communicating with yourself to know what you need and want in your own love journey. Same with any relationship, right? Like Francesca, same with parenting. You're going to need to have that communication to know, obviously as a parent, you probably know more what the child needs, but not always, right? You need to know their specific needs and wants and stuff as that relationship grows and develops and evolves. And so I think it's partly just having that awareness, the compassion, the passion, or the empathy as well, to be like, yeah, I'm aware of this. and I'm here for you. And I may not be able to help you where I really want to help you, or I may not be able to step in when I think I should be able to, and be able to also step back and let them have that journey themselves. And I think that's part of being in a conscious, intimate relationship as well.
Yeah, I would like to thank you for all this. It's really great this conversation. Thank you. I would like to pick on something that both Colinda and Kamal mentioned. That is, some people don't know who they are. They don't know where they are. They don't know who they are. So, as a parent and a parenting coach and a childminder, what I am seeing, I'm experiencing, and I like to talk about with the children is that children, they tend to conform to the other children. Because this is why you grow, you want to be accepted, you want to have things to share. So in order to have things to share, you need to do the same things that the others do. You need to like the same things that the other likes, because otherwise they don't talk to you, or if you don't like what they play, they don't play with you, they don't. And it's important to tell our children, first of all, decide what you like. Don't do the things that the others do because the others do it. It's okay, it's good actually that you know to do what the others do, but you need not to forget what you like and what you want, because you can't decide that you don't like panettone because all the other children don't like panettone. You ate panettone till this morning, and then you had panettone in school with your friends, and now you don't like panettone anymore. No, shall we talk about it? So, and with this also, what came to mind, the conversation about friends. We don't need the people who are our friends. When you speak to children, doesn't mean that you share everything and that you like to do everything together. Your friend doesn't like to do the monkey bar. Tell her, I want to go to do the monkey bar now. Can we meet in 10 minutes? You go do the monkey bar, she does the hula hoop, the bikes, whatever. You meet and you play again together. There are things that need to be there, but they are the values. So that I respect you and you respect me, and that we love nature and the animals. I don't know, for children, naturally, there needs to be something that connects them. But around that, you like your things, she likes her things, and it's good. It's good that you are not the same person. You need to know, you need to be happy. You need to love yourself. That's how I think self-love is born and is taught to children. Discover what you like and what you want. Then yes, sometimes you also need to be able to give up what you want and what you like for a friend, but you need not to forget it. Being able to give it up doesn't mean forget it. Always be aware who you are and what you like. Yeah, thank you, because it came much clearer now with all this.
Wow.
That's beautiful. Yeah.
Very powerful words.
Yeah.
I would love all of your take on this. Someone said this to me once. I'm really sorry to not remember the exact name and the exact I can't remember the method. But I remember someone said to me once that and I realized I was doing this, but unconsciously. Like, say when you're picking a romantic partner or something, I remember being like, oh well, they're not fulfilling this need, or this or this or this. And it's called the tanks of something. And she wisely said that we often want this, like, almost holy grail, this person to come in that ticks every single thing that we want fulfilled. And she said, but why do you think we have friends? Why do you think we have colleagues? Why do you think we have... And I could just see, Kalinda, you nodded, and I was like, huh? And I know it sounds so obvious, but until someone said it to me, I was like, she said, and then she said, which I think is another powerful question, are you fulfilling all that for them? And I was like, no. So how can you expect that one person? And again, it wasn't I was consciously expecting this person, but unconsciously I was. And I thought, wow, yeah, we put so much particularly on our partners. But that's why we have friends. That's why even our friends, like, I think sometimes we think we only have this certain friend, where no, this friend might be like incredible to go out and dance with, but maybe she might not be someone who wants to sit down and have a serious, deep conversation. That might be too much for her capacity. Or they could, again, it's not making assumptions that someone like that can't be like that, but I just think it's so important to just see the value that that person brings and not put on extra something that they never said they were capable of being able to offer. And I think something we mentioned earlier, I think that really goes back to just again that reflection of is this me expecting from them, or a return of something else, or am I really, and I think internet dating does this a lot, it sets a lot of people up to fail, because the person might be stood next to a car or this, so whatever's in the background, and people are like, wow, he has this house or he has this car, I don't know, and that person never said that person never actually said, that's my car, that's where I live. They could be on holiday having a photo. And I think we just really need to go back to actually, what has that person said, or how does that person act, and see them exactly the way they are and accept them at that. And if we can't accept them, then we have a choice whether we continue that relationship or not. But don't expect someone to be someone they're not, basically.
I love that. I think you've brought up a very valid point. And two, what I wouldn't mind adding is that let's not be too hard on ourselves and asking why we may do this. We also have to remember that societal norms are like, your partner is everything, right? How many times, like, they're your best friend, they're your lover, they're your confidant, they're your, the person you do chores with, they're everything. And we've been told that. That's what we've been shared, right?
Conditions.
Exactly. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's almost like programming. You meet your perfect partner. I mean, how many times have you heard, like, your soulmate? Well, I'm sorry, I don't believe there's just one soulmate. With 8 billion people in the world, you're going to tell me there's only one person who's right for me? I don't believe that. I think sometimes it's timing. It can be anything. You can meet some beautiful, beautiful people who you hit it off perfectly, but your paths are going in different directions, right? And I think I love what you've just said, is that the pressure we can put on people, which can then impact our intimate relationships and our friendships, and even our children and our, I mean, just the fact, like, even our pets, like, they don't feel it as much, but like, my dog, he was the source of my unconditional love, right? And it's like, he didn't ask for that. I just assumed that was his job. But it's being aware. And, you've just made me more aware in the fact that, like, now I'm going to go look at my partner and go, what am I actually expecting out of him? When really I should just be, like you said, and it's beautiful, I should just appreciate everything he already brings to the table and be happy with.
Fell in love with.
Exactly. And like you said, if that's no longer the case, that's not enough, then that's when you have those conversations and decide what to do from there.
And I think then it's hard to accept, but it's kind of on us, because we are wanting more, and that's not our fault to them. And we're allowed more if we want more, So again, we can't be unkind to ourselves as well. But I think, just often, and it's not, again, always easy. I think it's just like, am I really expecting something that they aren't actually at the capacity to give me?
And for me, again, it's very important to model this with children. I have a wonderful husband and father of my daughter. I chose him more than 10 years ago, and I choose him every day. But this doesn't mean that I'm always in love with him. There are moments in which I feel I would give him a shake or a pan. I would get and it's normal.
Yeah,
but when our daughter is with me and I do say, and I go, oh, look, your father left, I don't know, there is a pair of socks here again. And then I say, look, daddy is not organized. Daddy is not good in this, but daddy is good in many other things. And we love him, all of him. We love also the disorganized guy, because you will never find someone who gives you exactly what you need. Also because I think it would be a bit boring on the long term. I don't think anyone ever experienced this, so I don't know. But always getting exactly what you're thinking about, exactly what you want, exactly what... Then you're not challenged. It's not interesting. I mean, it's like living with yourself. Then I live with myself. So I think it's very important to talk to our children about the fact of looking for friends that are not exactly like you, they don't like all you like, and you still need and want friends around. And then when the relationship time comes, you need to choose someone who has your values, and then together you see if you can build something. And sometimes it doesn't happen, sometimes it happens, but you need to have an idea of who you are, again, who you are, what you love, and then meet someone that matches your important things, and the rest you build it. Or I completely agree, your husband doesn't like going hiking, you go hiking with friends. It's not that, oh my God, you go hiking with friends, and then you come back and you can tell your husband about the hiking. Because also, if you always do everything together, what are we sharing? How are we improving each other if the experiences are all the same and we just talk? If we are just reinforcing what we are and what we know, boring again. I think it would be boring.
Let's hear the male perspective. Wow. What do you think about?
Wow, that's really interesting, because acknowledging that no one is perfect, you know. I'm not perfect, I'll never be perfect. My partner isn't perfect, you know, she'll never be perfect. But accepting who she is, what values she brings, accepting what I bring as well, and just I think the most important thing to realize is that to align yourself with someone who shares at least most of your values. You know, you have that that similar things that you maybe do together or share with, and I believe that's what is all it takes. You know, because you won't find anyone perfect in this world, however much you try to find, and you just end up frustrating yourself even more in the long run. So it was all just accept it as how it is. Yeah.
And I think Francesca raised a really good, like, powerful point on the top of that, of what you just said, which is, if someone was constantly, you know, done, here, there, you'd be like, oh, get me out of this, you know? It would be just like, are you reading my mind? Like, it'd be too intense, I think. So, yeah, like, okay, sometimes, you know, that we have those funny memes and stuff of, you know, there's the washing basket and it's next to the washing basket. Just put it in the washing basket. But it's all a part of the experience, isn't it? You know, and of course, like, we still should have those conversations where
definitely
not just think of this. And I think that goes back to being vulnerable in a relationship and making sure you're having the confidence to have these conscious conversations when, you know, there are things that you want to highlight. It's not saying that they will change, but just being confident enough to voice how you're feeling. And that's one thing I've always noticed is even when we do that, we can often get labeled by the other person. And I think it's really important not to take it personally, because that's their perspective of how I've behaved, but that doesn't diminish my thoughts and feelings of how I feel in that moment. And I think that's quite a tricky one sometimes.
It sure is, yeah, it sure is.
So thinking about
I don't know if we can bring up, please, because it would be very interesting for me, in terms of intimacy relationships, the relationship with our bodies, because it's with ourselves and our body. I think it's very important, because we talked about a bit with Shel Marie. I think it's very important, in order to love ourselves, we need to love everything of ourselves. And our body, we are always with our body, every day, continuously, for our life. And we are not really taught, at least I wasn't, and I think many of us weren't, that you need to love your body, and you need to accept it, and you need to be able to welcome, to accept, to be curious also about another body. But if the body of the partner, we are talking about a man and a woman meeting, if you as a man, but men are more curious, I think, but if you as a woman, there is a different attitude. If you as a young woman have never seen a naked man, it's difficult to approach it. And I think that a lot comes from the fact that we don't show our children ourselves.
Yeah.
So I'm going to the place of we should model our children that their body is perfectly fine, and that there are parts that have names, also because for children till a certain point the private parts are just a part of the body, as the nose, as the hands, as the elbows, as so. But also as adults, we, for the private parts, I do it too. There is a name that is not the name of the part. So
Yeah.
I say penis with my daughter, but I use the Italian word that is patatina, that means small potato, for the private part of a girl, while actually it's just part of her body, and we should just name it and be open and be ready. And I think as parents we should, I don't feel comfortable with the idea of going on a nudist beach. That is not my thing. But if I go, well, with my daughter, I have a girl, we have a shower together. My husband doesn't feel comfortable having a shower with her, but when he has a bath and he goes from the bathroom to the room, he goes around naked with, I mean, it's a normal thing. No, you go from the bathroom to the cabinet when you have your undies, and you wear your undies, you are this, and not that you go around. And this creates a lot of the respect and love that you have for yourself, and the respect and love that you expect the other, that you should expect the other to have for you, for your body, all of it. So please, can you give me your point of view, all of you?
Yeah, just before anyone else talks, we touched on this last episode, Francesca, and it's really important what you said, because not only in the house, but just from someone who was in education for a long time, the way that particularly young children, when they're exploring, okay, there's a time and a place for touching their bodies, but it's not that sometimes the way it's told for a child to stop that is like it's disgusting, and that really needs to change. I'm sorry, because
like
the amount of times I've seen a child just exploring, you know, they don't know what they're doing, but it feels nice, and the person has stopped right in front of everybody and said, "Go wash your hands, that's disgusting, don't you do that." And I'm like, this needs to be addressed. I'm sorry, like, I just, sweetie, not now, go wash your hands, because you need to go wash your hands. And it really needs to be handled so much more carefully, because these poor kids, just from an early age, are already starting to think that certain parts on their body are disgusting. And no wonder then, and it's not going too much into it, but I don't know about your experiences, but it took me to probably nearly be 30 to realize it's okay to touch, like, to be okay and happy with my own body. Like, how, like, that's absurd. Like, that should never happen. Like, how can we feel it's okay to give to others and to be intimately with others, but there's like this shame around us being, you know, loving and pouring into our own body. And I think 100%, I'm so happy you brought this up, Francesca, because it's not just parents, it's not just individuals, but it needs to be a whole, it's like a big, you know, dirty taboo subject that needs to be addressed. You know, like even practitioners are not comfortable saying these words. And then, so as much as you can do at home, the kid's then going in, and then there's an adult displaying it as disgusting, or like throwing a book at the child, or, you know, whatever. And it needs to be something, again, that, why can we talk about eyes and nose and this, but then, no. And sorry, I just, one more thing, because we got really passionate about this last time, Francesca. Something you said about your husband, and I think this is a really key thing as well, because, again, same sex, it seems fine, but the moment, say, then the little girl, and I've even seen this in schools, say, you know, oh yeah, daddy, like, again, these are two parents that have had this child. Yes, you know, not all homes are loving and conscious and whatever, but I think, again, we need to stop changing this thought of this being something that's going to cause something harmful to the child. Like, It's just, yeah, it's a bit of a minefield, I feel, but I agree with you. Because even with me, I always knew how my mum's body looked, but dad, no, absolutely not. Never saw my dad like that. And yeah, why? Why same sex and the brother sees the dad, but we have no idea of what the other sex looks like. It's odd, isn't it? And like shameful and disgusting, but why? I don't know.
I have an opinion on that, but I don't know if it's appropriate to bring that up. Again, I think it's
But
part
do
of
you see what
conditioning.
I mean? Like,
Yeah, no, I
but
think
this
it's
is what
part
we're
of
talking about.
societal
Like,
norms.
Our point
it's like we're
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
treading on ice, aren't we? It's like the crack,
Yeah.
crack, crack,
Yes.
and it's like, but
Also for
why?
us.
How is
Also
it
for
come?
us.
A-
Yes.
And we are
Yes.
adults.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
Yes.
I think part of it, I mean, and I have issues
interesting.
with that, with how like you go into any change room for a female and it's all separated,
Mm,
right? You all have to
yeah,
change on your own, you have to pee on your own, you have to do all that.
okay.
Men's,
yeah,
for the most part, at least in Canada, all open.
yeah.
You pee in a urinal beside each other, you change in a locker room beside each other, and there's that already with the females, the young girls, there's that idea of shame. You have to hide it away.
Hide it. Yeah.
Right. And again, I think there's you need a whole episode on the patriarchy and stuff like that, but that's a separate conversation, right?
Yeah,
I
true,
mean,
true.
and I agree. I think like our bodies are our vessels.
Yeah.
They carry us throughout our lives. And if we can't have the respect and the love and the adoration and the empathy and the kindness towards our own body, then how can we have that or expect anyone to have it for us? And how can we give that to others?
Absolutely.
And again, I think it goes back to societal conditioning programming. I mean, one of my favorite things to do is the self-hug. You don't get taught to give yourself a hug, nor do you get taught that
It's
even
powerful.
just soothing touch is really good for you. Calms your nerves, regulates your nervous system. I mean, the self-hug for me saw me through COVID. I was on my own. I didn't have a bubble. I hugged myself a heck of a lot of times. I still do. I hug myself multiple times a day because
Wow,
I know how
amazing.
good it makes me feel. Right? It releases the serotonin, it releases the dopamine. And if I don't have somebody to give me a hug when I need it, I do it myself, right? But if you're taught, like, be ashamed of your body, don't touch yourself there, don't do that, don't do this, how are we going to, one, expect these kids to grow up without the shame and with the, without the disconnect? I mean, how many people, teenagers especially, do you know who have like such a disconnect from their body? Right. Part of the self-love coaching that I did training in, we do, there's like a whole couple of modules just on body appreciation, body positivity, intuitive eating, things like that, because that is such a huge issue. And more so, I mean, I'm not going to say more so with women, because I think it's just as equally with men as well, right? We are just like conditioned and programmed. If you're not like the media magazines are showing you should be, magazines are my time and age, but the social media nowadays, then you don't fit in. Your body's not good enough. So you must hate it, or you must get, get skinny, or get this, more muscular. You're not tall enough. You're not short enough. You're not this. And it's like, we must, I think, if we're going to continue to allow the schools to raise our kids to a certain degree, because that's where they spend a bulk of their amount of time. And I'm not saying, Francesca, that parents don't raise their kids, but I mean, when we are relying on a state system, not necessarily through any choice of our own, I will add that as well, then they need to change it as well, right? We can say everything we can at home, but if they go into the school system and then they're being indoctrinated, like you said, Shel, like, don't touch yourself there, like, that's disgusting, that's going to have a far bigger impact than, gently, or somebody saying like, or it being acceptable at home, but you come into a public place and then get chastised for it. That's going to probably hit more than that. My mom and my dad said it's actually okay. So I agree. I think there needs to be a systematic, global overhaul of what we're teaching our kids about the body. Absolutely, 100%.
I think it's got better, but you've really touched on an important thing there, Kalinda, because again, we only saw what perfection in society looked like, particularly in women's bodies. And even that, like, yeah, why has there been this hiding, and only this, which again is is created these unrealistic expectations. And often what we realize, and we're not saying that those bodies don't exist, but they've been heavily edited, and like, okay, it's a tricky conversation, and even us, feeling like we are doing our best with it, feel like, oh, can we say this, can we, but actually, if we just embraced it, and it's like that typical thing of everything that's new, it goes out. People aren't always going to like change. That's the whole thing. You're going to have contrasting views, but eventually it's going to happen. And I do believe, now almost it's become into a trend again, which we don't want it again to be like a trend of the opposite. But now you see women showing, say, their cellulite, or showing their body of how it looks when they breathe in, and then when it's normal, or after they've eaten something, and it is getting better. But we don't want, again, the opposite of like, oh, it has to be like, something that's been shamed and she still loves herself, or something perfect. Like, we just need everyone to just be embracing the whole spectrum, and not assuming that someone who might not look perfect or overweight in the media's eyes is unhappy, because that, again, is such an assumption that these people, oh, she must really not like her body. No, she loves her body, she loves herself. And I just think there's so many misconceptions that just really need to be addressed. Yeah.
It's also, I think there is not much correspondence from a woman's side. And Kamal, I would like your opinion. For me, there was no correspondence at all between the idea of what a body of a woman should look like, because men like it, and what actually men like. Because then when you become an adult and you talk to men don't like playing with bones. they say, I like you being a bit soft. I don't want to play with bones. They don't want the skinny, inexistent Barbie. Maybe you want it when you are 20, 25, but then it's not a thing anymore. While me and many of us, I think you grew up with the idea that if you are not like that, you won't be liked. So there is no correspondence at all between, I think, what really is from the men's side to the women's side. Because we don't talk about it. There is no conversation about, also there is no talking about what kind of men with our children, what kind of men with our daughters, what kind of men do you think you will like? Also physically, would you like someone who's much taller than you, much bigger than you, or leaner, sporty, with bright eyes, small eyes, dark hair? Does it matter? Does it not matter? What does matter? Because again, you won't find the one that is perfectly what you want, but maybe there is something that you need. I need a man who's bigger and makes me feel protected. I like a man who's taller and strong, because that's what I feel I need. But this is me, this is my need. So on the other side, what do you need? Does your need of a body near you, because again, you are going to live with me for the rest of your life, so in some way you need to like me, otherwise it's going to be not nice. So what do you need? Do our need match? But there is not much talk about this. We just presume.
I think you said a really powerful word there, though, that we often don't think about until later in life. Is you said, I feel protected. So it's not actually the height, it's often how we feel inside. And I would love your take on this, because we're not going to bypass you, but Kamal, but I feel, and you speak for the men, but I feel like also men have had a lot of programming of that's what they think they should like in a woman as well. And when they maybe like that woman, they're going to get teased, and then they think, what's wrong with me for liking this? So I don't know. I just feel like it's a whole loop of the woman thinks she has to be like that, and the man thinks he has to have that, and everyone's not sure of even what they like or don't like until they go, wait, hold on a minute, why am I doing this anymore?
Yeah, it's very interesting, this perspective, because I think society is very powerful, expectations, its norms, it carries on in us ever since we were children, teenagers, and even when we become adults. We have this sort of programming which we kind of accept like it's the gospel truth, like a woman has to like a man who is maybe bigger, muscular, has a six-pack and whatever. A man has to have like a woman who is, maybe fair skinned or light skinned or shorter or whatever. So it really takes a lot of relearning and unlearning. But I believe that you can have a solution here. I think the change starts with us. If we really do want change in the world, we should really start with ourselves. Start with the people around us. Start with our children. Kids who we mentor, and start to make them cultivate that self-acceptance. That it's normal to be curious about your own body, to like your body as it is, to love it as it is, and not feel shameful, and not have this almost like it's taboo to do this and do that. Because it's crazy actually, by the way, how kids sometimes can get, and it's not their fault. It's just how we took it up from our parents, and then also from their own parents. So it's kind of like a vicious cycle which doesn't end.
Yeah.
So I think if we start with ourselves, it will start to get that positive ripple effect in time. So
I think,
yeah.
if I can jump in, one thing that came to mind when we were all talking about this is also like the importance of nutrition, right? Because that's going to influence your body. So it's also going back to, what are we teaching our kids is good to put into our body? What are we teaching ourselves that's good to put into our body? The movement, etc. Right? And so it's learning, and I think that's partly where intuitive eating comes in as like adults and stuff like that. But it's also like, and I know sometimes kids can be difficult to eat all their vegetables and fruit and stuff like that, and they just want, fast food or something. But it's finding that balance, and then I guess also being able to tell them like, you can have this, yes, maybe not all the time, but if you want a body that's strong and healthy and functioning, you don't have to say looks good or is slender or is muscular. You just can say this food is going to fuel your body so you can grow big, or you can grow older, you can live longer, you can have more fun with your friends and all of this stuff, because you're going to be healthy. And that's important too, right? That just I agree. Like, Shel, you mentioned something earlier. It's just like we need a whole revamp of almost everything that's in our main societal norms.
Right, guys, are you ready?
Let's
go.
Yes. Change the world.
Yes.
We just planted the seed here today.
Yeah.
We get mentioned a lot that we need to get on with.
Yes. And this connects really, really well with how we feed our children in school. That in UK it's a
mind as well.
Also, yes. This is the first thing is. So my daughter is in year 3, and she's going to be home educated from January. We're done with school. We all chose it. She can't wait. We can't wait. One thing that I find unacceptable: they have 20 minutes to eat at lunch. So you want to tell me 20 minutes. By the time you get to the canteen, you need to queue if you are having the lunch of the school, or you need to open your packed lunch and have it in 20 minutes. What you don't have, just bring it, take it home. And you want to teach me math, English, and whatever else, and you think that is more important than teaching me what is important to eat and have time to have a conversation with my friends while I eat. Because food is also that. It's an occasion to sit, no sharing, because there's no sharing. I understand, okay, food, no sharing, allergies, okay. There are so many regulations, and some are understandable. Some I think is a bit too much. So there is no sharing. We are sitting at the same table. I need to have time to taste what
socialize.
I'm eating.
And just also digest.
To digest it, absolutely. Yeah. And then this goes with at home, when we talk to our children, tell her, Mama, can I have the biscuit? No, after dinner you don't have a biscuit, because biscuit has sugar. And when I come and get you from school, for example, the rule is first you have a fruit, so you fill up a bit of hunger, and then you can have something sweet. But you don't fill up the hunger on sweet things, on sugar. You can have it later because you're still running, you're going to gymnastics, it's not a problem. And then again, Can I have it? Yes, because you go swimming, so you will use the sugar. Today, no, you can't have it because you are going to bed. There is no more activity. Can I have this? No, you should have proteins. You already had carbohydrates. You already had sugar. Can I have this? Yes, there is sugar, but you are okay. As you say, Colin, it really needs to be modeled. First of all, because remember, Shel, I said our children sometimes listen to us, they always look at us. So you need to eat healthy. You need to do it yourself so that they pick it up from there. You can't tell them, no, you don't have biscuits, and then you're sitting on the sofa in front of the TV eating biscuits.
No biscuits!
I know. The irony, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's like
very,
we
very,
were
very
laughing
important.
about it yesterday, but my sister was saying, gosh, everyone's shouting today. And I said, and how many people will say, stop shouting?
Yes. Shouting. Yes.
I could literally speak to you all. Like, I don't even feel like it's a conclusion now, but I really don't want to use up more of your time. And I know we haven't got any questions to be answered at the moment, but obviously if any come up, I will definitely be putting them in the comments. You are all just absolutely incredible. I love connecting with you all so much, always. And actually, I just want to, before we end this episode, just say a personal thank you to you all, because not only did we all connect just via one episode, but I truly believe, and particularly the three people present today, have, even though we've never met each other in real life, have been a really strong pillar for Zest is Zen. And I appreciate you. I appreciate your support. I appreciate all your love, and just I'm just so thankful for you all. And just really, really thank you. And I know that this will probably not be the only time that we'll do a panel series together, because I feel like we've definitely left lots that still needs to be discussed.
Hanging, I know.
Yes.
Yes.
Love you all so much. And for everybody listening, and this is a part of this whole game of the, YouTube and all that, please share some love with this episode, because the more you either just do that one little thing that's free to do, which is like or subscribe, add a beautiful comment, just a heart, anything, the more love you send out, the more that the algorithms pick up and will send it out to more and more people, so more people can have this beautiful high vibrational loving episode. So it costs you nothing, and it's something you can do for free that will just enhance and expand and cause more love and more high vibrational conversations in the world. So thank you all so much. Love you to pieces. And
thank you.
Thank you.
Until
so
next
much,
time. Bye.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thanks everyone.
Thank you so
Shel.
much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Take care.
Lovely.
Bye.
Yeah.
Thank you.